dance, Hartley,
YMCA
dance.
What's the Trump dance?
Yeah. No.
That is not. We're good now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure many of you here cannot relate to this, because everything is so fast-paced these days. Back in June of 1985, I think long before most of you were born, there was no email, no cell phones, personal computers were just in their infancy. I answered a very inconspicuous ad in the Toronto Star. So back then, there was a newspaper, right? And they had classified sections, you know, looking for an accountant. And I answered an ad. I called a number and submitted my resume. And not long after, I got a call to meet with a fellow by the name of Mr. Harvey Kestenberg at his house one Sunday evening in late June. He didn't live far from me. I arrived and proceeded to follow him to his basement. Now, I don't think this would be allowed this day and age, especially if I was of the opposite sex. And if you ever met Harvey, you know what I mean. Anyway, we go into his home, past a large pool table, and Harvey preceded me to ask me a series of questions. And I remember one question in particular. He asked me to describe what a Section 85 of the Income Tax Act was all about. Believe it or not, back then I knew something. I was a smart ass, really qualified CA at the time. So this was a pretty easy explanation for me to give. I rambled on and probably said way too much. Well, I guess all my BS was good enough, and I got the job. And I started the day the firm moved on to 4 room, July 2nd, 1985. Never in my mind did I think that I would be here for almost 40 years. I was made partner in 1987 and haven't looked back. In the first few years, there were really no computers. Personal tax returns at first were completed manually and in pencil, and eventually they were done on a program called Tumble. Look it up. Okay? There was no caseware. We used something like 18 columnar paper. Everything was done in pencil. You had to make sure your credits and your debits added and cross-added to the penny to ensure you were in balance. I learned a new term, the transposition error. Anyone know what a transposition error is? I didn't at the time.
Max.
Something divisible by 9. And we would spend hours looking to try to find that, you know, the 18 from the 81. Financial statements were typed in Word, and actually, financial statements were typed on a typewriter. We didn't even have Word at the time. But the firm evolved. We started with desktops and laptops. T1s and T2s were done in-house. And then caseware arrived. And here we are today. Completely digital and online. Now, a lot of people have been through these doors over the years. Some, unfortunately, have passed away way too soon. Notably, a former partner named Chuck, tragically in 1993, and a long-term office secretary, Anna, probably 12, 13 years ago. There are really just a few here who've been with me almost from the beginning. Luann, who I hired way back when, and I won't say anything bad. And not long after that, well, there was Jenny, and of course, Vicky and Gay, who arrived with Monty some 30-something years ago. 26.
Hartley.
What?
Luba.
And Luba. Well, Luba's been here, not as long, but probably as senior than everybody else. Came here through Marshall, and a very important person in our office. KRP has been like a family, and always has been part of my family. My kids were born, they were bar mitzvah, I got divorced, there were weddings, and unfortunately too many funerals. It will really feel strange, especially once I'm back from Florida in the spring. Not having to go into the office, I will miss the camaraderie and the client contact. But I take satisfaction knowing that my clients will be in good hands and the partners whom I've transitioned. For those of you who are new and starting out, work hard. Take it all you can and learn from your managers and your partners, and you will succeed. To my partners, especially George, Amando, but everybody else, I mean, you've done a great job. You took over the firm at the beginning of the pandemic when Marshall retired. Honestly, I don't know what the future held, working from home, or whether clients would survive, or we would still have an office to go back into. With your leadership and foresight, not only do we survive, but we strive. We continue to grow to an even more successful firm. So, thank you, KRP. I hope I was able to contribute as much to the firm over the 40 years as I have received. Thank you. One thing before I go, I have one thing I have to do. I'm allowed to take my laptop with me. And in consideration for the laptop, I offer Armando $1 and George $1. Originally it was one loony, but they wanted two. Anyway, thank you.
Cheers. 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 Cheers.